Chandra Walker. And I'm chair of the, is it on?
Darren?
You're good. Okay. Yeah, my name is Chan. Are you sure? I think it's the other one. Okay. Yeah, once again, my name is Chandra Michelle Walker. I'm chair of the Native Caucus for the Democratic Party. And so what we're trying to do is get more Native Americans out to vote. And so we're just doing a simple mailer. What it is early registration to vote. So you can apply for a ballot to be mailed to you before voting on November 6th. But it's a timeline. So what we're trying to do is send out mailers to your enrolled tribal members here in Winnebago. And so they have the option to fill it out, send it back in, and they'll get the ballot sent to them. So that's what I'm here to do.
And where are you going to be?
I'm going to be at the Roman office. Oh, sitting in front. So yes. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I haven't got started yet. Okay.
We gotta prove it here, so. It might have been, I don't know. It's not clear though. What's in here? That's what I'm asking, clarification.
Okay. Do you have it? Have that in your office, Cody?
Policy and procedure.
Okay.
Okay, as long as you're
5A.
clear.
Okay.
It just says numbers, it says human resources. And then the name, that's when you know if it's social. It's confusing with the numbers. Yeah, it's about the policy and procedure manual. Approval. Everything approved.
Okay, we'll call the regular tribal council meeting to order at 1:11 p.m. Kurt, can you say a prayer, please?
Sure. Heavenly Father, we come to you in prayer. We ask that you look down upon us and be with us as we conduct tribal business. We pray for all our relatives and all our people in 4 directions, those that are in need of something. We pray for those that are mourning, those that are sick, those that are institutionalized. We pray for our wise one, our old people, and we pray for our children. We pray for our shortcomings, that we be a better individual, better person. And we ask that you continue to be in our lives, our direction, and we pray for unity, and that your love and your light shine through us as try to bring people together instead of this division that's in our community. And when people are trying to take God out of everything, take you, we don't want to get in the way of your purpose. And we ask that you be with all of us here. You know what is at hand, what is at stake. We ask that we make the best decision for the situation. We pray for all our relatives, like I said, in the 4 directions that are need. This I ask in your precious name. Amen.
Oh. Thank you, Curtis. Okay, we have the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I'd like to add a staff, update and an energy update for my past 2 trips.
Tribal Council items number 3.
Mr. Chairman, tribal council items number 2, the phone call, she's not gonna show up.
Okay.
Can't hear you.
Tribal council item number 2. Claudine Cohen complaint, ethic complaint, Reed, Tori Kitchener, she's not gonna show up.
Withdrawn. Withdrawn.
Yeah, withdraw that. By phone call.
I want to add that for my house, for that log cabin. I'd like for it to be done and over with. I've been through 3 sets of boards up there. And now this is gonna be the end of the fiscal year again. Can we get it done? I did everything you guys wanted. I got the inspection, everything. And we're still 4 years later, 3 years later, we're still sitting around this.
I guess I'd like to add that since we had 2 drop out, discussion with CC on the log cabin out there, Kelly.
Okay, that's CC or that's CC?
The one that spoke.
Or the same issue?
Yeah.
Log cabin update number 4. Okay, any other items? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve an amended agenda.
Make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Then motion and second, discussion. Any objections? No objections, motion passed, 7-0-0. Reading of the minutes, September 14, 2018.
Move to approve September 14th, 2018, monthly law meeting.
Been a motion, is there a second? Been a motion, second, to approve the minutes of September 14th, 2018. Any discussion?
I'm gonna abstain, I wasn't at that meeting.
Mhm.
I'm gonna abstain, I wasn't at that meeting, I was at a planning meeting.
Okay. Okay, call for vote, in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 yes. No. Abstention? 2. Motion passed, 5-0-2. Reading of the minutes, September 17th, 2018.
Make a motion to approve September 17th, 2018's minutes.
It's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion second to approve the minutes of September 17th, 2018. Discussion. Any objections? No objections. Motion passed 7-0-0. Reading of the minutes, September 19th, 2018.
Motion to approve. September 19th, 2018, general council meeting.
Second.
Been a motion, a second to approve the minutes of September 19th, 2018. Discussion.
I have discussion, Mr. Chairman. I had emailed the council, and when there was suggestion that we were gonna review and finalize the drug testing policy, at the last council meeting, there was a suggestion that we would wait for full council to have that discussion. And so I had asked the council that we have that when everyone was here, and that was during the time I was gonna be at NIHB. And so, you know, some of the council members said, oh, she just wants to argue, but I just don't believe in the hair testing. I still, I guess, will echo that it's culturally inappropriate. I think it goes against the traditional values that many times we hear spoken about at the table. And I just think that that we could satisfy the requirement with the urine or blood test, and just as much as not taking of the hair. And so I just wanted to reiterate that point with respect that I don't agree with that, and I think that we could accomplish what everybody wants without assaulting, you know, each other by the taking of the hair. And it's to be an example and to do what the employees have to do, and the employees have to do a urine sample. And I know there was some feedback that that wasn't sufficient. And I think that the memo we got from our general counsel talking about the different methods and the invasiveness of those methods, I think is a fair discussion. And I just think that when it's convenient for people, they stand on tradition, and when it's inconvenient for them, they shun that. And so I was just really disappointed to see this pass without a full council present, and also that people would be using culture and tradition when it's convenient for them, and not in the spirit of what's right and what we've been taught. And I think there's a lot of historical trauma surrounding the taking of the hair and the taking of our ways, And it's just disappointing that that people's personal political agendas would overshadow what we stand on, the ground we stand on as Ho-Chunk people. And I wanted to be cooperative, and I wanted to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish, to uphold the opioid epidemic, war on drugs and all that. But I just don't think that that was the intent of this. But I just would like to see that reconsidered, and I just don't think that's appropriate as a tribe. We talked about this at the Great Plains Tribal Chairman's Health Board, because they're in the process of updating some of their policies and procedures. And amongst our area tribes, you know, they also are doing things culturally appropriate at the Great Plains Tribal Chairman's Health Board and aren't taking the hair. So it's not just Winnebago that is trying to combat drug abuse in their communities and trying to be the example. So I've talked to some of their elders, I've talked to some of the people that prop themselves up as cultural stewards of our tribe, and they just told me, don't do it. They said Winnebagos don't give their hair. Later this week we'll have a discussion with the Ho-Chunk Nation, and on the agenda is a portion about language and culture. And I was really interested to see you know, how they came to their decision to not take of the hair, because I was told that they also had this up for discussion, and they don't take hair, they use other means to, I know you could even get a swab, you know, in the mouth. That would be no taking of hair or urine or blood. So I just think that that we can accomplish the goal and maintain drug and alcohol free tribal council without taking of the hair. So thanks for letting me share that.
Okay. Dusty, did you have some?
Yes, I'd like to, just say good afternoon to everybody. Being culturally right or wrong for what we're trying to do, not only for our people, but to be that example, sitting at this table, being a council, lead our people. To be culturally right or wrong, it was said that there shouldn't be any women sitting at this table. So with that, and still being a leader of our people, when we take that into consideration, we should take that into consideration. What we've done a long time ago, that was something else, but since we've entered into the age we are now and how we got here, this is where we should be making that change and to lead the way. And this goes into another thought that was coming up when we were talking about that at this meeting coming up on the 10th, that about that taking the hair. And well, I'm just saying for what I come here before, that now I think I talked to a lot of people, and they said it would be a good idea for the council to lead the way, as well as the program heads and the boards to also follow the same suit, to bring our people into a better tomorrow, and to help them, to show them that there's nothing to hide here, and anywhere that this board controls, the council controls. I'll say about that much. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any objections to the motion? Call for vote. In favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 yes. No? 1. 0 abstentions.
this was just on approving the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion passed 6-1-0. Reading of the minutes, September 19th and 20th.
why we wait so long to approve these. You just inconvenience these people by sitting there this long. We all got these minutes, we should have read them by now. I'm the motion to approve them.
Been a motion, is there a second?
Mr. Chair, there's a, under tribal council election, there's a spelling correction. Tribal council election number 1. Election board, I believe it's supposed to be resignation. Correct me if I'm wrong. On tribal council election, and it's number 1 under tribal council election. It says election board, and I think it's meant to be resignation. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Who resigned?
Clarify that, with the resignation of the previous CEO, Sharon Frenchman, and then putting Esther Mercer in that capacity of acting until that position is advertised. But she was also on the election board, so when she resigned that position. Then they selected an alternate.
Totally got that? Okay. Call for the question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there's been a motion, second. To approve minutes of September 19th, 20th, 2018. Any further discussion? Any objections?
I'll abstain, Mr. Chairman, I object to abstain.
Call for vote. In favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yes. 0 no. 1 abstention. 601. Motion passed. Ratify 5 signature. Adopt resolution 18-140 disaster recovery grant.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair. Second.
It's a resolution number.
18-140. There's been a motion, second to ratify resolution 18-140. Discussion.
I think it's just for memberships update. Just because it says disaster recovery grant doesn't mean that it's what it's actually for. Is it's for employment and training of administration and disaster recovery national located workers grant to address the opioid crisis. Is what that grant is for. So it's clear, because there's been statements made that certain departments got grants. I guess it was a bad thing or something. So that's for opioid crisis. That's all I have.
Any further discussion? Been a motion, second to ratify resolution 18-140. Any objections? No objections, motion passed, 700. New business, Esther Mercer amend resolution 18-86. Yes, sir.
I'm requesting
modification of the resolution that was passed pertaining to my land lease with the BIA, as it contains information about my house and the circumstances of the construction of the home that is inaccurate. And I provided you in my letter factual statements about how, when, and why that home was constructed, and that home is considered to be personal non-trust property by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and therefore is not under the jurisdiction of the BIA and has no bearing on my land lease. And so I'm requesting to have all language referring to my home removed from that resolution. Thank you. Just for the, there was sections on the resolution that should be in your packet that were highlighted. I'm just requesting that those sections be removed from that resolution because it's inaccurate information pertaining to who constructed the house. The housing, it says in the resolution that the housing authority constructed it, and that's not true. And the time that this house was built, I was 3 years old at the time. The BIA is handling the land lease, but my home is personal property that was willed to me by my aunt, June Kelsey, and I'm currently going through tribal court to have the home turned over into my name. But this resolution implies that the housing authority has some stake of ownership in my home, which they do not.
Question, Tori.
Oh, I just wanted to make a recommendation that, well, I guess I would like to make a motion that we direct the Winnebago Land Company Board of Directors to review Esther's documents and revise the resolution for reconsideration with the corrections made.
I'll second that motion.
Been a motion, second, to refer this to land management and bring forth a revised resolution. Discussion? Any objections? No objections. Motion passed 6-0-0. Human Services. Anybody from Human Services?
I mean, just so that the people that are, that's their charge, and they take care of that.
Anyone from Human Services?
I don't know even if they knew they were on the agenda. A lot of times it's what we kinda talked about earlier in those meetings, is the communication barriers that stand within the tribe. Make a motion to table it, I guess.
Okay. A motion to table, is there a second? A motion, second to table, discussion? Any objections? No objections, motion passed 6-0-0. Wallace Earth Employment with Food Distribution.
First, I want to say good afternoon to each and every one of you. And congratulations to Tori on that award. Feel pretty good about that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roland, for posting that treasurer report. Like reading that stuff. But I feel that I wasn't given a fair opportunity in my termination from the food distribution. Off of all the work that I've put in down there, all the changes that were made because of the efforts that I did, all the stuff that's taken place down there is because of all the work that I put in. You know, I was honored to be put on the nutrition board for the USDA, and because of a disgruntled former director that was doing stuff after hours, you know, during, you know, our personal free time, all the threats that I went through, me and, you know, my father, my brother, you know, they were even threatened that their tires were going to get slashed, and that for me getting terminated was, you know, a no call, no show. I did inform a employee that is here today, and you can ask him questions. You know, without him, you know, I don't think I could have did what I did for us down there. And there's another employee that is no longer there. But me and the employee that's still there now, and if I could say his name, Luther Whitewater, is an asset to the program, because, you know, without him I couldn't have finished what I started. And there's still stuff that I was doing when all this stuff happened that, you know, would have brought the tribe money as far as farming. And if we had land, you know, I had to sit through classes for that. You know, all the millions that we lost because of the former director that, you know, I found out during the investigation when it was just me and Mr. Whitewater and another employee that was going through an investigation down there, and still conducting business like we're supposed to. There's so much money that we could be giving back to the tribe, and that's what I was explaining to Mr. Whitewater. I was kind of laughing around. Hey, we're going to be going down to the council, bringing a check down there from the government every year for us doing our job. I just, you know, I wasn't given the opportunity to explain half this stuff. The former director's daughter owes the tribe like $6,000, and she's a head jailer down on the Omaha reservation and for the corrections. During all this time, she was trying to pull my background to get my job taken away from me. I've brought all this proof to Sharon, and I don't know if she explained to everybody what was going on down there besides all the good stuff that we was doing down there. And so dealing with that, dealing with being threatened every day, you know, somebody was supposed to come knock me out, you know, and the cops were called to come down there. There's police reports that I did that's down at the police department even before, you know, any of this had taken place. But the work that I've done for our people and our clients with the help of Mr. Whitewater and the one that isn't there, you know, we shot back up as far as the USDA and where we should be. We became number 2. And before I was let go, I was supposed to go to Montana to speak for everything because they knew what I was doing, you know. And that $18,000 for all that missing food, the USDA came down to help assist with that. You guys were in a meeting that day when they came down and they told me that they were gonna forgive us for that $18,000 that we owe, you know, because they knew what I was doing. And I didn't get a chance to come down here or tell you guys, but they said they would come down with me and tell you guys of what I'm doing for our program. And so Sharon was also aware of this, and I don't know if she told you guys anything about that either. And Mr. Whitewater, you know, he can verify. You know, there was times where it was just me and him down there. And the store concept that we have now is a awesome thing for our clients, for us, because there was times where that freezer was broke, where we'd open that freezer, it would hit us on the head, and there was many times where the director wouldn't, you know, try to fix that or anything. Another thing that I did was I went and I got a grant. Well, I went down and talked to Pat Medina and got a grant to make that store concept a reality. And that's another thing that the USDA really loved, because it takes like 5 years to do something like that. But I did it in 99 days with the help of Mr. Whitewater and the other former employee. So I really love what I do for our people. And all I want is that you guys reinstate me and put me back there so I can finish bringing good things back to our tribe. Right now I'm working, and I'm making good money at what I do. But to me, it ain't about the money. It's about what I've done down there for our people, for our clients, that I really love and I enjoy. You know, I've spoken. I only been to 3 conferences, and that's with the whole USDA. There's governors, there's tribal council members, you know, and I have a couple governors that I spoke with, and I told them I'm gonna have that store concept for our tribe. And once they knew I did that, because I posted a video of when we finished that, and that blew up everybody, you know, like, wow, they did it without hardly any funds from the USDA, but because of his initiative that he takes without, you know, our help, you know. So now they're at our call to help us. They'll help us do whatever we need. And they wanted me to get vehicles that they would pay for. They wanted to put more money into the food distribution to have it fixed. And right now, that's, you know, I had a new kitchen. I was putting forth other stuff that I was adding on for our people to do, food demonstrations, cooking classes, everything like that. And I'm also a certified fitness and health person that, you know, I was going to apply that for our people and our clients. But yeah, all I would like is that opportunity to be given back to me to finish what I've started, and it's a great thing. And I got Mr. Whitewater here. If you guys want to, you know, ask Mr. Whitewater any of the questions to support what I'm telling you. But all the stuff that I've been through, you know, I don't, you know, I just want to make that happen. Just like Tori, I want to keep getting us awards. We got awarded for what we did. So if you guys can decide on me coming back, I would really appreciate that. If you guys give me that thing to come back and do what I was doing. Because I never was, my work record was actually impeccable. You know, when all this stuff started, that's when everything started hitting the fan. I never was in EPA, and I was also talking with Mr. Rixner because of all the threats. There's stuff that Mr. Rixner knows as well. You can call him and ask him that, you know, was never brought out or was never brought to your ladies and gentlemen's attention of what was really going on down there. So I would really appreciate that if you guys put me back to work down at the food distribution and let me finish what I started. And if you go down there, you're gonna see what's new and how it was from when I wasn't there. So if you want me to ask Mr. Whitewater come up, you guys need to hear from him. He's here.
Want to hear from Mr. Whitewater?
Do you have a comment?
Okay, I'd like to say hello to everybody. Good afternoon. I came down today to let everybody know that I work with Wally for about 4 years now. We started in the program pretty much at the same time, and him and myself were pretty much the regulars down there. They were the ones that were there, were hardly there. And in any case, we pushed on and looked at the funds that we had available. We got a lot of things on track, and we pressed our director many times to do this and that to ensure that things are not leaving the building without approval. So we pushed it, so we got cameras put in there, and locks changed. Before we got there, it was wide open. Anybody could have did what they wanted, but me and Wally and I'd say Anthony and Sandy Scott, we pretty much did our job by watching everything we could, but since we got me and Wally mostly kind of were into what we were doing, and it improved. And Wally was there most of pretty much 90% of the time. Every time I come, he was there, and I'll miss a few days out of a week maybe, but he was there 90%. But he was a good worker, and at the question at the time of the question about him being no call no show, the night we played horseshoes on Thursdays, and I rode with him. On the way back, he dropped me off at my home, and he told me, he said, Luther, he said, I ain't gonna be in tomorrow, which would have been a Friday. And so when I got to work Friday, we was concerned about the keys. We forgot about the keys. I forgot to ask him about it to open the coolers, and that was it. I let him know that he wasn't coming in, but we had to get the keys. And that's when we found out that he wasn't gonna. I didn't know where he was, but he asked me to pass the word on that he was gonna be in Friday. So, which I did. And for Anthony, he was the one that was there. Joanne wasn't, or she was on leave at that time, or well, anyway, that's about what I wanted to let y'all know, that he did let me know that he wasn't going to be in that Friday, which they called him for no call, no show. That's about pretty much I wanted to get, stand up behind him, let you guys know that he did let me know, and that it was no call, no show in my book. Thank you.
And then in closing, there was somebody that was caught for drugs down there recently, and they were sent to the EAP. you know, but here I am for a no call, no show. I don't understand that. So yeah, I just want to be reinstated. So if you guys can help me and do that for me, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I had one comment. Wally, I just wanted to thank you for the contributions that you did make to the food distribution program, and I know we had visited before the storefront opening, and I was really happy for you that you had kind of taken the extra effort to and want good things for the program, and you had gotten appointed to a regional board, and all those things I can appreciate, because that means that Winnebago's was at the table, and we were contributing to kind of like what's good for all of us in our whole area, and sometimes all of Indian country. So I remember we had a conversation. I was really liking it for you, and you had really big plans on how you wanted to continue to grow the program, and so that was all positive. And then absent, you know, what had happened outside of work and in your personal life, we had become aware that there were some issues and fiscal mismanagement and inventory mismanagement at the food distribution program. And so I think it was under the CEO's direction that, or possibly the table, I don't know who directed it, but there was an internal audit done, and the intent of that internal audit was to get back into good standing with the USDA. And there's many of our tribal members that count on that program, and based on some of the error that had been happening over time, we found ourselves in being sanctioned and under review, and so the tribal council had been presented with some information in an executive session, and I don't think the council acted on that information, and they acted on preserving the program. And so it was outside of that internal review that the CEO was, through her administrative authority, had to take some necessary actions to save the program. And sometimes we find ourselves in tough positions where we don't want to make some of these decisions, but it was to save the program and the health of the program for the whole community and the tribal members and community members that rely on that program. And so that kind of just so I did want to thank you and acknowledge you for, you know, what you have done. And then when it came down to the personnel side of it, it was through the CEO's office and the DHD's direction that the next steps happened. And to be fair to you, some of the things that were said and shared during an executive session, the council didn't really take hold of that, because it wasn't the council's line of authority over that program. And so then it took the next steps with the CEO's office and the DHD, and I think that's, you know, what kind of brought us to here. But and I try to respect that line of authority and stay out of those decisions that are within the policy and rendered by the DHD. But I just wanted to also acknowledge you and thank you, because it's people that are motivated and kind of fired up to make it better that makes it better for us. And so I hope you continue to kind of go down that positive path, and we all make mistakes, and but I think that there's still ways that you can contribute, and maybe in the future it is back in this body of work. But I just wanted to make that comment, and it's not all negative. You did make a positive change down there, and I hope that you encouraged some of your coworkers to take on more work like you did. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
anything from the HR, or you gonna bring them guys up here? Or down, have to be an executive session, you at the federal program?
May the council's call.
I think one of the things that if we're gonna go into this or anything, I think it's really a big can of worms. You know, because of what's taken place, the stuff that was talked about in the executive session, also the stuff that's down there now that's taking place. There's been some allegations made about certain things that are taking place down there now. And so I would just let the council know that I think it's something that can't put a Band-Aid on this time, you know. And you also can't look the other way. This is gonna affect the poorest of the poor people. You know. So you're gonna have to feed this some kind of attention, you know, and Wally's following all his things by coming in here as a tribal member, and you know, maybe if he's gonna do that, maybe that's encouragement to the other tribal members that are involved in this to come into, you know, but this is gonna take a lot of time to sort through. So I guess it's up to the table if you guys wanna go down this avenue, and it's gonna take some time. Just another reminder too, we do pay people to take care of these things for us. I don't know what all their facts and what all their stuff that they have. I believe they might have presented at one time or another. So it's gonna take at least a day for everybody to be here to make that decision, so that way when we come back through these minutes and we don't say that wasn't included or anything, so we can all know. But that's all I have.
Any other comments or questions?
Like I said, you know, for any decision to be made, we would have to hear from CEO and CEO, and then the department head director, you know, the HR, that documentation, you know, all the file in there. Like I said, that's a federal program, so it would have to be direct.
So what you're saying, Jim, is refer it to the CEO for further review?
In her position right now, yeah, she could probably meet with HR and then just get up to speed on, you know, what had transpired, see if everything was done accordingly.
Motion?
Yeah, that's good. I'll make that motion then. Let's go ahead and refer to this CEO.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Any objections? No objections, motion passed 6-0-0. Esther, this item will be referred to you for review. Number 4, Barbara McCauley, complaint. Okay, Barb? Barb, this is what you presented to all of us?
Yes.
Okay, take note on it that we received the complaint dated October 1st, 2018, time and date.
Okay, my complaint is in regards to the meeting on September 11th, 2018, wherein my sister Gloria Jeannie Eagle was in the process of giving her housing report when she was rudely verbally accosted by a councilman, Roland Warner. The interruption and his unethical tirade was personal about me, my brothers, and other siblings. Donna Blaine, Donald McCauley Jr., my brothers Walter and Robert McCauley. It's had nothing to do with housing. His tirade, in case some of you may have forgotten, is as follows. It's terrible what your brothers are doing to your sister at that house. Run over my bushes, come to my house, pounding on my door, demanding I take them to Homer. It's terrible what goes on at that house. Because of that unprofessional, unethical, vindictive, vicious, vile, libelous, and scandalous outburst, I will be asking questions. I want no abrogation, out of line dismissals. Means I don't want to be told to be quiet. Mr. Warner was not told to stop, so please grant me the same. Under the bylaws of the Winnebago Tribe, Winnebago Reservation, the state of Nebraska, June 18th, 1934, the description for tribal chairman is as follows. Article 1, duties of officers. The chairman of the tribal council shall preside at all meetings at the tribal council. He should also be the presiding officer of any general meeting. He shall at all times have general supervision of the affairs of the tribal council. He shall execute all the rules and regulations. And I have the council defined in here, but I don't think I need to go through that. Now, if necessary, please reread and show me the area broached upon by Roland Warner when his tirade began to include me and my family. I allege that Chairman White was negligent in his duties to suppress Roland Warner when he began his verbal assault on my sister, Gloria Eagle. Warner should have immediately been quashed and written up. And I asked, why wasn't he silenced? Why wasn't he quashed? My next question is for Roland Warner. Are you a peeping Tom? Voyeuristic? I believe you are the latter because it means watcher, along with peeping Tom. How can you see my house? From my house, I can only see the top of your house because of the bushes. How do you know so much about us? What's your fascination? I've spoken to you twice in my whole life. The first to ask you to move a car. The second when you asked if I needed help while I pushed a broom to clear powdery snow. And I want you to please clarify your parting statement. You should see what goes on at that house. Okay, you made two statements about my brothers coming to your house and the bushes. One bush, B-U-S-H, not plural. You and your wife, Tiffany, tried to claim was more than one bush, and you requested $1,100. But after I took pictures and talked to the lawyer, the fine, including court costs and the cost of the bush, was only $160. And as far as wanting a ride, not they, he. Robert never goes anywhere when he's drinking. And do you know why my brother asked for rides? Because I take their car keys away from them, so they won't be stopped and arrested for DUI or kill someone while driving. We all have alcoholics, drug users in our families. I don't know why you're so fascinated with my family. It's none of your business, but my life and my household is fine. No abuse, verbal, physical, or sexual. I say sexual because someone else may think your statement, "you should see what goes on at that house," implies that. Please quit spying on my home or talking about me and my family in council meetings. Stalking is a federal crime. This comes pretty close to it. I wrote that, but it is smack right there. You're stalking. To the council in general, you all know me, my family, and not one of you spoke up in our defense. Not even to silence this vindictive man. No one came to the aid of my sister, or were you all silently cheering his subjugation upon my sister? I am mortified, hurt, disgruntled, and my perception of each of you has changed. I was told to choose my words carefully when I grew up, because even an accepted apology can never take away how it made you feel. Actions have the same effect. You all owe the Donald and Winona Chief McCauley family an apology. Libel, slander, defamation of character, expulsion. I'm going to define expulsion. And this is in the bylaws of the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska. Removal. Article 6, Section 1. The Tribal Council may by a 2/3 vote expel any member for neglect of duty or gross misconduct. Before any vote for expulsion is taken on the matter, such members shall be given an opportunity to answer any and all charges at a designated council meeting. The decision of the council shall be final. And I allege gross misconduct. Gross misconduct is behavior that is cause for dismissal and possibly criminal charges.
Okay, thank you, Barb. Are there any questions?
I have a comment. Well, good afternoon, and I wasn't here this day during this housing meeting, but I guess I wasn't here during this discussion during the housing meeting, and I would just like to, I guess, first apologize for not being here that day. And what we're seeing now kind of as a country and in some of our national tribal organizations such as NCAI are some of our women relatives coming forward with things that they don't feel were appropriate or in ways that they were spoken to. And I'm sorry that that's happening, you know, amongst my peers and within our chambers. And since I wasn't here that day, I wasn't here to feel the abuse and feel the kind of assault on your family. And so I'm, you know, I can't, you know, speak for Rollins' actions or what prompted him to make those statements or the context of the conversation. But I do think that also that our council members deserve due process, and there's a process that, you know, would give you your I guess your due process as well as our council member, council treasurer. But that process doesn't go forward without a motion that says that we feel that it was, you know, that the report had integrity enough to reach the next step. And so I think that kind of in the spirit of supporting, I guess, my women relatives, and although we're not, you know, related by blood, I just think, you know, we say of all our relatives, that process be looked into. And I know there's another report next that's related, but I don't know, Coley, do we have a copy of Jeannie's complaint?
Each one of us should have received it.
Okay. Because I didn't see it in the packet, so I just wanted to kind of look at both of them, and I didn't know if we were going to deal with them together or if they would each be their own separate action. So sometimes it seems like we forget our manners when we're sitting here sometimes, and people's emotions can overcome them, and so to give you your full rights as a tribal member, and to also respect our council members' due process, I'd like to make a motion just to accept this complaint.
Been a motion, is there a second?
Corey, what do you mean by accept that?
To accept it. So one would say this is frivolous and there's no truth to this and this is crazy, and it would be the end of it, or it would be accepted and then the process would be invoked.
I'll second that motion.
Been motion, second, discussion.
I guess I have something to say for discussion. First of all, I want to say to you, Barb, and the rest of your family members, you know, you said in here that you wanted an apology, so I want to say sorry for not sticking up in your defense. But on the other hand, being the youngest here at the table, I've learned a lot in the past 3 years. And one of the things is that I've learned the hard way. I was the first one 3 years ago to get an ethics complaint here. So I learned the process and I went back and I studied it. From that day forward, I've been the bad person in different people's eyes because of lack of communication on my part and on their part. And sometimes sitting up here, you constantly get things said to you, so you start to build a thick skin. And sometimes you automatically fire right back, you know. And then if you don't do that, you end up starting to do different things. And one of those things that one of my challenges is, and I can only speak for myself, everybody here in this room's got a voice. One of the things that I've learned is I would take it home and I would get short with my family, you know, impatient, you know. And so it's not always fun and good to sit up here, and in a way I've had to learn, and you've known me before I came over here and got over here, was I would kind of fire right back, you know. But here you got to try to argue back in a professional manner, and sometimes when people say real hateful things, it's constantly builds and builds and builds, and it does. I've gone home and broke down before, you know, just because of things. I can't say the most sickening things back to these people that say sickening things to you, you know. So you walk out of here and you carry that, and I just wanted to let you know that's where I'm coming from. And I've seen different people that even in the 5-month council and the old council, and then in this council, all have to deal with that, you know. And I've seen some real sickening things said to people that didn't deserve them kind of things being said, you know. And so I guess with this complaint, is this going as an ethical complaint, or is this a complaint, or how are we handling that? That's one question I have for the
It's
table.
not a matter of ethics. I want to file that as something to be done about it.
Okay.
I'm just asking for my own, so I understand it right.
Yeah, that's why I included the definition of expulsion, and it is in the bylaws.
Uh-huh. And so the other thing is that when each one of us we have family members that we and he stated it in here that we have the trouble with drugs and alcohol. And today, when I woke up this morning, I looked at, you know, what we was going into this day here, and to be honest, you know, I didn't even feel like coming in, because I looked at the agenda and I see negative, 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 you know. But that's what we signed up to do, you know, and that's what we're put here to do, is deal with those things, make those hard decisions. But that's just being honest, you know. Now I'll probably get after this meeting, some people are gonna say some hateful things to me and say, well, if you don't feel like sitting there, then why'd you sign up? You know, that's the mentality that our people have nowadays, because this table allows that to happen. And those kind of things are what I've learned is it takes about 2 days. When we have a bad day here at this table, 2 days later it ripples out into the community. And you've known this because you've worked in the emergency world, you know. There's a ripple effect from this table. There's either a car accident, something goes on. It takes 2 days. So today we had a pretty decent day this morning, meeting with all the financial people of the tribe. So now, as the day comes closer to the end, I don't know how the day is going to end, but I always watch that ripple effect. Half of the stuff that goes on in the community, this table creates it. And it does. And we create it because sometimes we don't have the answers for it.
Look at him, not me. I didn't start
I know. I'm just talking to you. You know, I'm telling you how I feel. I can sit in his office, tell him how I feel all day long. You know, but I very seldom get to see you. So I just wanted you to know that that's how I feel about it. You know. So, but I guess I just wanted you to know where I stand. So.
Thank you, Isaac, and I accept your apology.
Yeah, at that meeting, when you were discussing the meth policy, I didn't hear the outburst because I stepped out to get my policy that had been adopted and they were holding the whole commission.
Can't hear you.
When we had that meeting on the 11th, I was in attendance at that meeting, but I had left the room to go retrieve my copy of the meth ordinance that the Winnebago Housing and Development Commission had written up and we approved. And so I'm sorry I wasn't here, and then I didn't hear that outburst. But you know, for your rights as a tribal member to take issue what was said, you know, that you have every right. And I'll also apologize to Jeannie too for those same, you know, we try to help everybody when they come here. You know, and ours is not to have judgment on everybody, you know, because we all have relatives that suffer from addictions and things like that. We do the best we can for them, you know, and then we should have empathy for another, because we are all suffer these same dilemmas in our lives, and we do the best we can.
Yeah, I would just like to clarify that my household, which is none of your business at all, is running fine. We have a very symbiotic relationship, my brothers and I. They help pay bills. They have duties. Robert does all the cooking. Walt does all the heavy lifting, car work, everything. Like I said, I would like him to answer where he's getting all his information. I've only talked to him twice in my whole life.
There's a question on
door there, she's asking.
Hello. As far as the bushes being run over, they were. I did take him to court. I took him to court. He didn't. Those were my bushes that he bought for me, that your brother ran over.
One bush.
No, it wasn't one bush.
How much did you get?
I got $250
Yeah,
for 8
not
bushes.
1,100.
Yeah, that's
you
what
filed
they
for
cost.
1,100.
That's what
you
they
paid a
cost.
lot
I know
more.
what they cost because I was the one that picked them out.
Paid a lot more.
Okay.
Your brother was drunk.
Okay, call
And I had
order. Okay,
a
you
run-in
settled.
with him this weekend, and I filed a complaint.
All right. See what you started?
Barbara, I apologize to your family. I apologize to you. When we were sitting here, we were discussing the issues of drug addiction and what was happening with these people. There was innocent people that were being let go from their residence. And in the context of that conversation, I was saying we can't control what people do. This individual that we were discussing at that time had family members when that individual was seeking medical assistance. They were out of their premises, out of the control over that person's children. They were using over there. And that's what I was talking about. And then in that conversation, your sister was sitting there. And we were talking about these things. And I said, you know that we can't control people. And that's when I alluded to that incident with the bushes. Now, with that being said, I didn't take that and mean it with malice to hurt you, or your two brothers that live over there. But I was telling your sister that you can't control what happens, what they did, how they've been conducting themselves. As a result, that's what I was alluding to. Now, I apologize to all of you, the Macaulay family, the Chief family, because I don't want hard feelings between me and you. So when I see you, I want to have a good thought and a good feeling for you.
Better talk to your wife too.
And I will. We will have a conversation. But my wife, she loves me. She's going to come to my defense, just like you are with your family. So I just want to say that. That I hope that we can move on from this.
I'm going to withdraw my second, Mr. Chair.
Withdrawal noted.
Okay, I have, you never answered my question.
Okay.
What did you mean by, you talked, Jimmy, you were in here because he leaned over to you and said, you should see what goes on at that house.
All right. Let me clarify that for you. Now, at no time did I ever allude to anything as far as any kind of immoral practices or any obscenities going on inside of your home. What I was alluding to was the things that you're putting you through.
None of your business.
So that's what that.
I see things that goes on at your house. I don't bring anything up.
That's what that meant. So just to clarify that for you, that's what I meant. Point taken.
Okay, there's been a motion to accept the complaint. a second? Been a motion to accept the complaint. Is there a second? Been motion to accept the complaint. Is there a second? Motion failed. Like a second.
Jeannie has one.
Yeah, that's the next one down.
That's been done?
Um,
That's why I read all my.
Okay, tribal council items, number 1, Genie Eagle complaint, ethics, reference RW.
No, I got 2.
My secretary, note the acceptance of the complaint. Receiving a complaint of September 11, 2018 from Genie Eagle. There's no name on here. No.
Oh, I forgot to sign it. I'll sign. If you want my autograph, just line up. No. Okay, consider it signed. To lay a little groundwork, we were having the discussion, you had called the WHDC commissioners in about the evictions of the meth remediation that needs to take place in these houses where the occupants use meth. And I guess people were coming over here, so you said, and I guess we were trying to explain to you that our main task as commissioners are to provide safe and affordable housing for tribal members. And I don't think very much attention was paid to the safety part until it came to meth and how it contaminates a house, how it can destroy a house that is just that to someone, a house. But maybe the next occupant, it's gonna be a home. And these people are leaving these homes sick. And it costs, just like a human, it costs a lot of money to make them habitable again. Especially when you get high readings. Some of them can be just washed down, but many of them have to have everything pulled out, taken out to the studs. And you gotta let them sit a while. And that's why you see houses boarded up. Most of it's meth contamination. I was shocked. And so we were talking about that. And we were getting pushback from the table of this process we were going through. When all along each step we informed you what we were doing, how we were doing it, what the outcome was going to be, so that nobody sitting at that table was blindsided. And you weren't. But yet, when they came to you, you needed somebody to push back on, and so you pushed back on us. And so we were over here doing our best to explain to you again what we were doing, how we were doing it. Shared with you some of the high numbers, the cost for each house. And pretty much everybody was here that day. I know Kenny was here, but he left. Jim did get up and leave, but he came back with the information that he shared, and it was about this thing he attended up in Sioux Falls. And he was sitting where he's at now, because when Rollin started spewing, he was looking right in Jim's face, and then he would look at me. And I was totally shocked. Totally. By that ambush. I felt like I was ambushed. Because why would he be talking about my sister and my brothers and their home when it had nothing to do with the conversation that was going on in this room? What we were talking about was meth, remediation, evictions. That was the conversation. And so I felt like somewhere there had been a conversation about us. And this was the outcome, the ambush. Because things like that have happened. The innuendo and misrepresentation of their home, of how they live their life, shouldn't have been in here. It wasn't closed. The meeting wasn't closed. And it really wasn't a meeting. We were just meeting informally. When he did that. When I left here, I felt like I had been assaulted. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally. Because why? Why would he do that? To this day, I don't have a clue of why. It was so uncalled for. You know, just like all this behind me. It's uncalled for. I guess I'd never been assaulted that way. I've never been assaulted in my life. In my life. I've never been struck by a man. I've never been struck by a woman. I've gotten into discourses with people. but always for a cause, for something that wasn't mean, that wasn't meant to hurt somebody. And that's what happened to me that day. I never said nothing mean to him. I hadn't said anything mean about any of you. When I come here and I speak before you, I always try to be respectful. I don't shout, wave my arms around, holler at you, call you names. I don't do that. I wasn't raised that way. I was taught respect, especially for people who sit around this table. I've had close relatives sit at that table. I respect those chairs. I sat in one for a while. I have nothing but respect for that table. And I guess I found it ironic that what Jim left for was to get information of a workshop he went to up in Sioux Falls about abuse of women. And he sat there and let that happen. You know, he belongs to the clan that's supposed to keep order. And he let that happen to a woman, an elder woman, who was here just to serve her tribe. And so this is, you know, that experience is a first for me. A first. I'm going to take that to my grave. That these men sitting around this table let an elder woman be assaulted and accosted that way and didn't say a word. Not one word. You know, if I had been sitting at that table, I would have said something. Especially if it was an elderly gentleman. Yeah, I do. I think Tori, if she'd been here, she would have spoke up for me. Maybe not for me personally, but me in general. For women, elderly women in general. You know, these ladies sitting right here, they're my family. My sisters. We got the same mother, same father. You wouldn't want your sisters or your brothers treated or talked about that way in public. Like I said, it was open. There were people that I'm over heard me accosted that way and saw you people all just sit there and do that. That was the talk over there for, I don't know, maybe they're still talking about it. And it's not a ha ha ha, put her in her place. It's not that kind of talk or laughter. They were just shocked and appalled as I was. You know, if you take anything away from this, it's stand up for somebody, anybody, especially for children and elders. That's who we're supposed to be respecting. That's who we teach our children to respect. Elders and children. And Benny and I, and probably Kenny and Frank, I bet we're, and Tanya, I bet we're the elder, you know, the elderest people here in this room. Donna. I didn't want to say Donna. Oh, Jim. And so I would like to see us all treated with respect, spoken to with respect. You know, I know the elders in my family, Donna, me, Barbara, my brother Junior, Benny. You know, we worked hard all our lives. Nobody gave us anything. You know, and respect's something you gotta earn. You can't just say, I'm 55, respect me. You know, you have to earn that. And I feel that we earn that. We earn that. I've been working since I was like 18 years old. A hairdresser. I was a hairdresser. On my feet, 8, 10, 12 hours a day to earn my money to pay my rent, buy my food, clothes on my back. So just, I guess in closing, I want to say that he's supposed to be my relative. He's a kinsman of mine. They're the Hensleys. My Choka was always real proud of that. He's related to the Hensleys. Agnes and Vincent, Yvonne, they all call my Choka Uncle John. So for that to happen was shocking.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jeannie, I apologize to you. And I will do my best. I'll try better. I'm glad that you said what you said to me. And I take it to heart. And then from this day forward, I'm going to do my best. When I address anybody, I'm going to remember what you said to me. So I'm going to apply that to myself. so that when I see you, I want to feel good about it. So thank you. And then you will get your apology, the win, and then whenever you feel the time is right, I'd like to make a kettle and share that with you and your brothers. Apologize to you. Break bread with you. We can get past this and go on. Forgive me. Forgive my ignorance. And then I want to apologize to this council, these people sitting around this table, those people out there. Overlook my shortcomings. I learned something today. Thank you for teaching me a good lesson.
Benny?
In closing, for J.D., I would just like to say that I'm glad that these people can be here to see, what has happened to me and my family. I have no ill respect. I have no ill feeling for Raul. As a matter of fact, every time I saw him, I shook his hand. He shook mine. I shook his. I have no ill feeling for Tiffany. I can see her anger with Barbara Ann. Sure, I get angry too. But this is one of the times that, with all due respect to you guys, and my family has been what did they say, abused verbally 3 times. And like Jeannie said, the council let it slide and go by. What? I guess what I'm asking you guys is, what have we ever done to you guys? Tori and Vince were in here all the time. I wish they weren't. I got a lot of respect for Tori and Vince. And I got respect for you guys too, as council members, because you're our leaders. And to let things like this happen to us and to somebody else, which shouldn't be. And then at things like this, that we come to you to look, to seek, what do you want to say, advice maybe, or a little bit of input on our behalf. So if this happens and somebody comes to you and says that what we're saying to you, if you're not going to say anything during this abusive outcome that we had, then why come to you? Because we feel like, you're not going to say anything. And Mr. Chairman, it's his job to control what happens in here, just like Jeannie says. But, I would rather, I don't know how Jeannie feels, and these guys is my family. And I know Jeannie because come October 22nd, her and I We've been married 50 years. And I've known her more longer than that. All three of these. Because we grew up together. All of them. As a matter of fact, I played doll with them. As a matter of fact, I played jacks with them. I used to beat them. Me, shit, I was a good jack player. JD knows that. So I just wanted to say things like that, and you know, and I still have respect for the council, no matter what the outcome, what you may say. But again, I just wanted to say that I'm glad that these people could be here to hear and see what we went through abusively. So, and I want to thank all of you for being here and listening. Thank you.
Thank you, but he's out of time.
Mr. White. All right, Frank. Thank you.
All right,
Guys.
yes, wait, Jeannie.
Oh, excuse me, go
I want to apologize for that moment, that day. But also, you know, we sit on another board together, and you and the other guy, sometimes you guys say some pretty rugged stuff to each other. So I didn't know if it was that way, you know. So I apologize, and we say stuff like, you know, unite, and we disagree to disagree. We can do that, and let's work things out. And let's be here for each other, and it's almost really not that way. And there's been thousands of prayers said in this room right here from a lot of great men, elders. But I want to apologize for that, you know, and hopefully, you know, we kind of just watch what we all say to each other and how we act, you know, in the future, you know, because we're all under God, we are, and this will play out one way or the other, you know, it'll be right. But again, I want to apologize and thanks for coming and being here and,
yeah, good one.
And being on the boards and how you feel about your tribe and stuff, us. Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry.
I just want to thank Jeannie for bringing this forward and for your family kind of taking your hurt feelings and trying to turn it around for a good lesson for all of us. And as one of the two youngest council members, Isaac and I, you know, we have a lot to learn, and so if I was here, I would have said something that day. Even if I stood alone, I would have said something. But I just think it's a tough thing to hold our peers accountable at the table, and it makes people feel uncomfortable because we don't want each other mad at each other, or we don't want them to turn on each other and things like that. And so I've seen, you know, my peers not hold each other accountable for our actions, and I want to also thank Roland for apologizing, because you know, it takes a humble person to express their apology, and since I wasn't here that day, I don't, you know, I can only read and hear from you on the context of that conversation. But I also want to say that one of the things that I have learned along the way is, you know, to do no harm in what we're trying to do here at the table. And another lesson that was shared with me was that every criticism and every critique is a blessing for improvement. And we get a lot of critique in person, in chambers, on Facebook especially. And some of it's hurtful, some of it's not true, some of it's, but to sit here, you have to be prepared to take it all and somehow turn it into a positive. And so it doesn't sound like there's support to take this to the next step, but I think that you taught us something today, and that's how we speak to one another, how we think about expressing ourselves, especially, and we're all human, and it sounds like sometimes I know I get a little defensive in my remarks and response, and it's because I'm passionate about it. But So I just wanted to say that and thank you for coming here to remind us on how we should be acting here, and I just want to thank the table for listening to Jeannie and her sisters here, and for Benny, because we're always quick to stand up for our relatives, and I think that's what makes us a community and makes us a family. And what I heard all day today is, you know, that we do want to come together, and there are many threats outside of our tribe, outside of what's happening in our chambers, that are threats to our tribe, and maybe we should, you know, shift our energy in that direction. And so I just want to say thanks for everyone for kind of committing to do better. So thanks.
Okay, Benny has one more thing to say. He's probably gonna challenge Kinney on jacks.
I just wanted to say that.
Wait. I just want to tell Roland that I accept your apologies. Just down by
Oh.
Thank you.
I accept your apology.
Good.
Just wanted to say that I want the council to go home in a good way, good feelings. And the people do.
Yeah, good.
That's what I want.
Good. Okay, Jeannie, Barb, thank you. You know, this was a kind of a blessing in disguise. That, you know, you made it so that, you know, we can create some compassion. And there's been a lack of, and thank you. You know, I know you had concerns, and each one of us, you know, we've had teachings when we were, from the time we were just little bitty people and growing up. We've had these teachings. And one thing that I do remember is that I was told, is be careful what you say, because it's going to come back at you. And I try to live with that. So thank you for bringing it to us, and then you know, opening up our eyes, softening our heart, and actually I was offended too. You called me old.
He said as he threw his wrinkles back.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you know, when I pray, I pray as soon as I wake up in the morning. It's the last thing I do before I go to sleep. And my morning prayer always says, make me a blessing to somebody today.
Mm-hmm.
Even, you know, I want to teach somebody something today.
Good.
Even if it's a smile.
Okay.
You know? And so my prayers were answered today.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Jeannie. Have a good day.
Okay, you too.
And I want to see Benny play jacks. See how it can.
I'm kind of nervous right now.
Here we got two more items.
Yeah.
Chairman, we got, what, NIH, did you do your NIHB update?
Do it later? Do it later, okay.
And I'm sorry. Need to get Randy in here. I told him I would suspend the rules or something, real quick for an update on.
Good one. Good. Good.
Okay, what are they important? They have a time?
Randy?
No, I don't, just ask him, because.
Okay. I just want to present these to you.
No, wait.
No.
I'm asking Coley. I'm not asking you, Randy. Coley, remember we got the CE report next Wednesday.
Do you want us to bring this back? It was just that, I didn't know we were.
Okay, you gotta bring it back in. Yeah. let's do that. Okay, we got one more item. Council? Isaac had some questions. Billy, can you find Isaac on this next subject?
Mr. Chairman, can we get a motion to table my report to the next time the council wants to hear it?
Move it, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Coley, when's the next opportunity I could give my report?
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
We second on?
Mr. Chairman asked me to hold off on giving my report, so I said the next time that the council would like to hear from me, perhaps that CEO report or mid-month.
Been motion, second. Discussion. Any objections? No objections. Motion passed 5-0-0. We'll identify a date through Teresa. I think what you got is important for them to know. Okay. Yeah. Stacy, can you come up, please? I have to go to the restroom.
He's the chair.
No,
Wait, hold on. Oh, she's still in her room. We got 5. Let's do this.
Okay, go ahead, okay, go ahead, Cece.
Okay.
Are you at the table? Are you still here?
If that's what the table wants, I'm prepared to give it, but I think
No,
if they
no,
want
no,
to
we're-
move things along.
To listen to Cece.
Oh,
We need
yeah.
5 for a quorum.
I was gonna use the restroom, but.
Okay. Like I said, now we're gonna be another set of councils coming in, right? In a couple days. I've been on this same thing for, it'll make 3 councils, right, Tori? And we haven't got to the end. We haven't got nothing done. I signed my papers that I would agree to buy the house. I had Ron Nor, did you get a report?
I didn't see a copy of the report, but
Okay, I had Ron Nor had went and did an inspection on the house. It was sent to Frank, and I don't know, did you get one, Rollin?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and Isaac got one. Isaac went down there and called Ron Nor himself and asked for this report. Where's it at? Okay,
Now
so
talk about it.
I'm always talking about it. Okay, there's major things that are wrong with this house for it to pass inspection. In the way I'm understanding it is because the tribe still owns the house. That house has to be inspected and pass inspection for me to buy it. Okay. So with all these major things being that came up, we're not getting anywhere. I'm sitting here yet after July, after I signed the papers, and nothing is, we haven't came to anything yet. You wanted an inspection, that's done. I still don't have an answer on how or when I'm gonna be able to get moved into that house, or when they're gonna even work on this house.
Cece has been in contact with most of the council members and wanting updates, and the last thing I knew was that the work was going to be assessed, and then I spoke with the chairman, and he also shared that same statement that in order that it, since it still belongs to the tribe, and before it could be conveyed to you, that we would have to have it in good condition or safe condition.
Yes.
And so to me it seemed like where we had the disconnect was with Ron's program under that construction umbrella or the housing authority umbrella, that who is going to assume responsibility for those repairs. And what I guess I'm not sure is if either of those departments built that in or for consideration into their budget, or if that would require a mod, or if that would fall under one of their line items that they already have funded. But I don't want to see this go unresolved, and I know that when the table changes, then you have to explain the whole issue all over again, and I think it would require the table to direct one of those appropriate programs to finalize, you know, where we all understand we're at. And so I feel like we're all on the same page. You know, we got past the tough parts, and even now that it's been assessed, we know how much it's going to cost. So I would be willing to make a motion to direct the Physical Resources Department to follow up and proceed with the recommendations.
That was a motion?
That was a motion.
Discussion.
Motion second, discussion.
So one of the things that if we're gonna do that, and it sounds like it's another push in the right direction. Maybe it's putting a Band-Aid on a Band-Aid, but I think this has to happen fairly quickly. The heating and cooling we're gonna need a new furnace in there, at least, because if we don't, then with the winter time coming and the place boarded up, you're gonna create mold, and the longer we wait, the more it's gonna cost. I guess pushing it towards human resources or physical resources, I think that the question is what are we asking them to do other than to put a punch list together? That's kind of been already done. And the first thing on there is paint and drywall repairs with minor and mold, carpeting, flooring. And then a third thing is furnace and air condition. Fourth is siding and windows, gutters and downspouts, roofing and shingles. And so it's kind of, I guess the question is who's gonna pay for this, when they're gonna pay for this, and when's the job gonna start, so these guys can move in. Now I've spoken with Cece before, and she said that if we get it to a certain point, she would be able to kind of do the rest of it, you know, as far as the painting and stuff like that. You know, she might be able to do that herself. I believe downstairs is a fully finished downstairs where there's rooms, and then there's some stuff in the hallways that can be painted. Some of the stuff, one of the other questions that popped up was, are we going to test this home because it's under the tribe, because of different things that might have went on in that home or did go on in that home? So the bottom line is, who's going to pay for it, and then when are we going to put insurance on the house? You know, so those are our main two things: who's going to pay for it, and when are we going to put insurance on the house?
Insurance is already taken care of.
It's already taken care of? Okay.
Part of the topic.
So then the next thing is just how much are we going to put into that, you know?
Okay, just for your information, Cece, I've talked to Ron about this, and he advised me of the same thing that's on that sheet of paper. And he said that to even make it livable, we need to replace the furnace, and then need to clean the walls, and then put in a new floor cover, and possibly it could be livable then.
No, he said also on the roof leaks, he said he has pictures of where the roof leaks, where it came through.
Okay.
Because I've been talking with Ron Knorr on it, and he said the siding, the lower part of the siding, you can put your hand in that. That was also on there. And when I talked to Roland, is what I said is, and Isaac, You get them major ones done, the rest I'll be willing to do myself. Like the inside, finish the basement because the basement isn't finished. He put down windows. I'll replace the windows. But I'm talking about the major ones that need to be done.
It's been going on for, what, 3.5 years or so?
Yeah,
Right,
I've
right.
been through 3
Yeah.
sets of board of councils up here already.
Just a matter of biting the bullet.
So, question, Mr. Chair, can we divide that cost between those physical resource programs or our senior emergency senior home, and then what other programs to kind of absorb that so that we can take care of these issues and then get her on her way? Is that a possible solution to this?
I'd be willing to modify my motion to reflect that, and then CC could get the windows or do whatever has to be done with, and then through the program she would pay her part and the tribe would, the senior home repair would pay their part, just to get it done. And I'm not in conflict of who pays, but I think the tribe has already assumed that responsibility. It's just I'm not trying to hit anyone's budget hard, and so I think it's fair to follow up with how best that mix comes down to. Is that okay with you, Cece? And then you could get those repairs done before winter. And I understand the program works where based on your income you pay a percentage of the bill.
The heating, cooling, all that? Is that what you're talking about, or?
The tribe can take care of that.
No, that the tribe would do the major ones, and then the ones that you assume responsibility for
Mhm.
could go through the EHR program.
Yes.
Or the senior program, or whatever it's called.
Mr. Chair, I'm requesting someone to update me or brief me. At one time, there was alleged activity in there, drug activity.
Yes.
Okay, as far as has it been tested and the remediation, where's?
That hasn't been tested. I talked to Monica Cleveland about it, and she said, I haven't got anything from anybody to go in there. Nobody has come to her and asked her to go in there and test it. But yes, there was reports, there was police reports that there was drug dealings in that house. And when we came before the council before with what we were talking about with the drug use, everything that was going on in that house, and nothing was ever done. But like I said, I talked to Monica and she said nobody has come to her and asked her to do that.
Would you volunteer to follow up with it? On this house here, with the testing, the major items, the furnace and floor covering, major leaks and costs on it?
Yeah, I could do that. I mean, but who's gonna pay for that? You know, and get the cost and all that.
Yeah, I can get the costs
Is there
in the
power
meantime
in
and
the
find out the source.
Is there power in the house?
Is there power?
I don't know. I'm not sure if there is or not. I haven't been out there since they boarded it up, and I didn't go out there then. There has to be if they knew the furnace and stuff didn't work right.
Probably got turned off by now.
Yeah, it probably got turned off by now.
That's the thing
Okay.
with it being freezing, we're gonna have to move on it very fast.
Okay, there's been a motion second to refer this to physical resources. Any more discussion? Any objections? No objections, motion passed. 7-0-0. Do you volunteer to do it?
Yeah, I could help with that.
Why don't you share that?
Almost there.
I'd be willing to help you with that, okay? I know there's, like the testing. who's gonna pay for this? What's the results, you know? And then where's it gonna come from to clean it up? Other than the cosmetic, the windows and furnace and things like that, you know? So
He's gonna work with CC and fiscal resources.
I'd be willing to help that way. I mean,
Drug testing?
I'm gonna test it, but it's gotta come from somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
So we gotta get it paid for. Because we don't wanna give them a home that's contaminated, you know?
Okay, how do you feel, CC? Are you satisfied with that?
Yes.
Okay. We'll get the ball rolling.
Okay. Now, my next question, will we have a timeline of when I'll be able to get in there? Is it gonna be next year, this year, or something?
It'd be contingent upon some of those things we just said, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. We'll try to expedite that fast, you know, within
Okay.
our powers here, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys could work on it tomorrow.
Okay, all right, CC.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
coming in. Chair, entertain a motion to adjourn. Got a motion, second to adjourn. Any objections?
Hey, yeah, good.
Aye. Call for roll. In favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 5. No. 1. Abstain 2. Okay. 5, 1, 1.
That's my last meeting.
Motion passed.
Before we do some writing, tell Willie Cleveland to not allow cameras or iPhones at the tailgate party. Cause there ain't gonna be no fun if there's iPads and all that. Who's stand?
Garen, turn it off.
30.
It just,
No.
is that still on? Huh?
I don't know.
Cause I wanna share something with you guys.
320? Oh.
I wanna share something with you guys. It's off.
Off, no, yeah, no.